out with $600,000 for this development.
And they're spending like into the millions on attempting to gentrify the downtown area, kind of as a ways of economic stimulus, as a ways of trying to draw new businesses, new stuff like that into Guelph. And the problem with like this is equally unsustainable, right? Because that's not creating blue-collar jobs, right? That's creating a few jobs in some really highly specialized fields, and it's not really a sustainable method of economic stimulus, right? That will inevitably slow and kind of taper out. So basically, they need to be thinking about the future a heck of a lot more than they are.
Yeah. And maybe before we go into the occupation, I'll just say like a quick points about this piece of land so we kind of know what we're talking about. So like as I already mentioned, actually I should even look, the zines like lay out really quickly, especially occupation is my occupation and the Limerick zine, like reasons to oppose the Hanlon Creek Business Park. But like I said, like the Hanlon Creek feeds into Speed River, feeds into the Grand River watershed, which is already like so completely destroyed pretty much. The water is so polluted, so the importance of maintaining it, like all of us need clean water. And all of the trees there, the wetlands which filter the water, there's a moraine on the site which does so much for groundwater recharge. And the city actually, it always does this kind of little interesting dance, where first the moraine was on the site, and then they started saying the moraine wasn't on the site, and they're kind of always dancing around that one. But if you actually look on their own environmental assessment, they say the moraine's on the site. And we go into that more detail in the My Occupation, maybe one too many my's in there, but yeah, in that thing. And then so many species of trees, animals, medicines in the forest, like land that we'll all need, right? And especially as like climate change is becoming an increasing reality, I would hope that people would begin to wake up and realize we need land more than concrete, but it seems that people, I don't know what's going on in people's heads. It's a really interesting battle because it isn't like I need the trees more than the mayor, Karen Farbridge, you know, she needs them just as much as I do. But somehow it doesn't fit. And then just like what tarmac and all these things does for heating the air, whereas trees actually cool the air, and all of these different factors involved in it, right? So this is kind of the context that we're in. And then there's also provincial pressure to push the business park through, and with the Toronto, there's the provincial places to grow act, which is like Guelph should be growing. So there's a lot of kind of these different factors involved in making this kind of a unique situation. The fact that it's owned by the city too is very interesting.
And one of the things that unsustainable development, and one of the things that capitalism depends on is people's disconnection from our land base, right? And our loss of kind of the culture that even our grandparents and our great-grandparents had, where, you know, it was really evident that your food comes from the ground, your water comes from the well. Why would we destroy these things? It's impractical. Why would we not want to preserve the thing that sustains us, right? And I think that people have forgotten that in recent years and think that food grows in the grocery store and comes in little hermetically sealed packages, right?
So maybe should we go into the video of the occupation now?
First video?
And then we'll talk more about that. Yeah, so now we have a video. This is the first day of the occupation. This is Sam, Anplace, and Will. The what?
This is the eviction day?
Oh, this is eviction day. This is eviction day of us.
The city was supposed to be a Hanlon Business Park, which would cover this area with over 85% inhabitable surface, 74 acres of roads. There's been widespread opposition to this, especially in the past 15 years, but increasing the past 6 months. And even though there's been widespread opposition to this, the city has not listened to what a lot of people have been bringing forth. So they pushed through the construction of a culvert over Tributary A. Tributary A feeds into the Hanlon Creek, which feeds into the Grand Speed River. The Grand River provides the water for multiple different communities, including Six Nations, Brantford, and Cambridge. Also in this area, there's the Periscope Moraine, which is an important recharge area for our own drinking water. There are several ecologically sensitive species here, including one that is both federally and provincially protected, and another one that is federally protected. Despite all this, the city is still pushing through with its development. So we see this as a last resort to get the city to listen to what the public is saying.
And now on the site today, there's a public response to the eviction notice that was served yesterday. And rather than people leaving the site, even more people have come to show their support and show the city that they can't just put us in a little tasty stone on the side of the site and expect us to allow this construction to continue, this development to continue. They want it to appear as if there's a dialogue, but we insist that if there's a dialogue, there must be the possibility and this development come about, and that's why we're staying put.
I've talked to a few people and they said they're prepared to be arrested today if the police come and try to evict you. Is that general consensus? Is that a large percentage of your people? Are you yourself prepared to be arrested?
People here today will make decisions for themselves about what risks they're willing to take and able to, and I think no matter what that decision is, people are all here to make sure that there's a just solution to this, and not necessarily just one that follows the letter of the law and without any sense of responsibility to this land and to our own lives.
For myself, I remain committed to protecting this ecologically sensitive and thriving area that sustains us. And I think it's important to remember that any arrests that happen are made because the city authorized them, and that is an example of the city responding violently to rather peaceful actions, and that's a really good indication of how the city prioritizes its profits over people.
Nice. Nice. Profits over people.
That was on YouTube. Yeah, so the occupation. I guess before I go into like a lot of kind of the story of how that all happened, I feel it's important to emphasize that those of us that decided to do this, there's nothing special about us. Like, we didn't have any special training. Most of us had no idea really what we were getting ourselves into. Might have been even been good. And so I think, like, I just want to kind of reiterate that anybody can do this. You know, you don't have to have special training. You don't have to think you know what you're doing to walk onto land and start a development, stop a development. Yeah. You just need to do it, and anybody can do that. Yeah, so the lead up, we had, I don't know, 4-hour-long meetings almost every day for a month leading up to the occupation. It was a lot of meetings. It made me really happy it was summer, because we got to at least be outside under trees for most of them, and to break the meetings with cartwheels and tree climbing. But it was quite a bit, a lot of logistics to figure out before we also went to different cities to kind of say what, not exactly what was happening, but just kind of like a heads up. There might be a call out soon for people to come in and help us, so if you could stay tuned to that, that would be really, really awesome. Cities did what they wanted to do to organize, to be ready for that call out or not. It's kind of just sending little feeling fingers out to gather ourselves all over southern Ontario. And then like a couple of days before, a call went out for people to be ready for dawn on Monday, July something. 27th? Okay, Monday, July 27th. Everyone met at dawn at a school close by to the business park. And I don't think I slept at all that night. It was pretty spectacular. And I remember, because I was directing cars, and I remember walking into this place on the school, and all of a sudden seeing so many people there, and being like, holy cow, we're actually going to do this. And so then from that site, after we all gathered ourselves, we drove to the site and we just walked on. We were hoping to get there before the construction companies were there, but they were already in there. But as we walked on, they kind of just walked off. We heard phone calls, people saying like, oh, the protesters are here now, as if they were expecting us. One truck got stuck, So it was actually this really sweet moment of like all of us helping the truck get unstuck to
Yeah.
help it leave. And I remember even the security guard was friendly.